What is love? Many scientists have postulated that love is merely a certain concoction of chemicals that are released by your body based upon certain stimuli from your environment, and that it is, in fact, transient, illusory, non existent. This is particularly prevalent amongst the less optimistic scientists, individuals who would call themselves realists. I call them detached. Sure, our sense of love can be experimentally simulated through chemical manipulation of our bodies, and in that same token, love can be scientifically observed on a biological as well as electrochemical level, whether it be through brain CT scans or blood sampling. But this does not get to the root of the matter. Let us go on a thought experiment. And mind you, this thought experiment applies to more than simply the concept of love, though I find love to be probably the most profound human condition, emotion, that can ever be conceived. Thus, we will use it as our mode of travel through the labyrinths of the human condition. Take, for instance, the science of particle physics. I know, rather esoteric to most, right? Well, just follow me here. I will show you how it links up. In particle physics, scientists have discovered that each individual atom is comprised of over 200 separate components, such as quarks, leptons, gluons, etc. And these particles' properties, that is, how they interact with each other and the environment, are defined by bosons. However, each of these new fundamental particles, as they are called, are themselves further divisible into smaller units of measure. Further divisibility finds, at least as far as we have gone up to this point, that these particles themselves are composed of a plethora of smaller particles. The scale gets continuously smaller. The smallest unit of measure that humans have been able to scientifically derive as of this point is what is known as a Planck unit, which is 1 times 10 to the negative 34th meters in size. These are Planck energy waves, or something to that effect. But what is beyond that? What is smaller than that? You see, science is in the constant search for how something works, continually peering deeper and deeper into the cosmos on both a very large and very small scale. Since as a result of infinite divisibility, we will never be able to find the ultimate smallest fundamental component of the universe, nor the ultimate largest fundamental component of the universe, no matter how far we go, these things will always be magic to us. In the sense of love being defined as chemical reactions in the brain, or electrical signals being sent through the nervous system, that is a fundamentally flawed way of looking at it. It is something akin to looking through a telescope and only seeing the visible spectrum of light, the spectrum we are most accustomed to. But the visible spectrum constitutes less than 1% of all electromagnetic waves. This relates very clearly to human hubris. In stark contrast to the age of the universe, human civilization has only been in existence for roughly 6,000 to 10,000 years, depending on your metric. We have come a long way in this relatively short period of time. The universe is believed to be approximately 13.7 billion years old. While science is ever working on trying to further constrain that number and get as close as they can to the actual age. We use telescopes such as Hubble to peer to the very edge of space, the equivalent of peering 13.1 billion years into the past, when the universe was a mere 600 million years old. At that point, the universe becomes opaque, occluded by gas clouds and the like. Just as well, our image of love is also occluded. Why is this? Why can scientists define love as chemical reactions despite its nature? The answer is, and always will be, free will. Ultimately, no matter how far back we go, no matter how many variables are involved, when it comes down to it, each individual, whether brought up on Earth or Gliese 581G, brought up in the slums or in royalty, has a choice. And our choices shape our paths in the universe. Each individual choice that we have branches us off into a completely separate chain of events in our lives. This leads us to experience certain things in our lives, the nurture side of the house, which shape how we view love, what we see as love, and how we best express it. Beyond that, the nature side of the house, we still further have a choice. In all the lives that we live, we build up a karmic blueprint of ourselves. This karmic blueprint shapes our paths in many peculiar ways. It is still based upon our choices, but these choices are not limited to a single human life experience, but the entirety of your being, your soul. They reflect all of your transgressions on every individual or in every situation since the creation of your soul. Free will factory, if you will. Your free will dictates which life you will enter, when you will enter it, and how you will live it when you get to it. Cleaning up karma is a long and arduous process to those that do not have a clear understanding of it. It is cause and effect on the largest scale. So, if your transgressions in one life, or in many, caused harm to someone or a group of individuals at some point, you may limit your ability to choose which life you want to enter into next time around. But you still had a choice. It was simply made further back in your own personal history, and that choice constrained you to another point further down the line. As such, you may be forced to enter into a life of poverty and turmoil to make up for your earlier transgressions. This is both nature and nurture. Not only could you be brought up in poverty and turmoil, but you could also be born mentally disabled. This affects one's love map, as it is called. The way this love map is affected directly manifests itself in how the chemicals in one's brain react when exposed to certain stimuli and/or situations. But even beyond that, we still have a choice. We have a choice no matter what point we are at to change how we view love and how we choose to bring it about in our lives. That is the heart of free will. And to realize ourselves from the karmic buildup that we have received over the course of our own entire personal history, all we need do is forgive one another. But this forgiveness requires not only one party to forgive, but both parties to forgive. Well, I for instance, may forgive my brother for killing a dog when he was younger, he must then also accept my forgiveness and forgive me for instance, instigating his killing of the dog. This is a hypothetical situation that never happened, mind you. The ego is ever present, and this is what blinds us from what love truly is. It is not merely chemical reactions brought about by certain stimuli in our environments. It is not merely nurtured love maps or things of that nature, but an entire compass of everything that we have become in our existence, from the very inception of our souls. The way we define this love in our own individual lives is the very definition of ourselves. We are all said to have come from God, being singular separated souls splintered off of the source of creation, Him, or whatever you desire to call it. Our choices in life paint a different picture of love for each and every one of us, based upon our perspective, our ego, our judgment. It's almost as if God created all of us to see the universe through infinite different points of view, and thus gather an all-encompassing wisdom. Love is not a result of chemical reactions. The chemical reactions are a result of love, which is then a result of our choices in all of our lives. Scientists believe that love can be empirically derived. This notion is foundationally false. Empirical systems are always based upon physical observation, and thus the equations are constantly changing. They thus are not universal law. While it is noble to accept an empirical system of looking at the world, this empirical set of laws can only define a system within a certain set of parameters. Currently, this set of parameters is that we live in the third dimension, vibrate at a certain frequency, and have no capacity to traverse different aspects of the entire fabric of space. To explain it another way, we cannot, for instance, live within the fourth, fifth, or sixth dimensions yet. We do not yet know how. But in those dimensions, undoubtedly the current laws of the natural world do not apply. As such, humanity will never develop a set of laws for everything when they can only see a small sliver of the entire picture. We are not yet capable of peering into the eyes of God or staring at space. It truly would blind us at this point, but our hubris tells us otherwise. Furthermore, empirical systems simply cannot be universal law at the current stage. Let us look further into the concept of choice. With every choice we make, imagine that this choice is a fork in a road. In the interest of simplicity, let us explain then that each choice we make is always bimodal. That is to say, you only have one of two choices that can be made. Each choice we make, thus, takes us onto one of these two branches. And then, this branch we have decided to follow leads us to yet another choice. We choose another branch. This process is ongoing, ever occurring. It is not beyond the realm of reason to say that each individual necessarily makes thousands of choices in a given day. This leads us down one particular path, when there are literally infinite different paths that could be taken. This is our universe, if you will, the one that we fashion ourselves to live within. And this universe that we fashion defines our idea of love, which then defines our reaction to certain stimuli that would cause a love reaction within our bodies. Chew on that for a while. It's quite a lot.